Hello, my name is Kirioth, and this is the last time that we'll talk about those old foes bundles from Games Workshop. So over the last couple of weeks we've mentioned the old foes bundles that Games Workshop is doing for Warhammer 40k a couple of times, and it's mostly been negative. Firstly because they were using FOMO marketing, telling you that you had to order now to avoid missing out on a bundle that offered no discounts and no new models, and was available for a limited time, but all of the contents were freely available before and after said bundle's existence, and then because they stopped doing that, which was good, but then sold sold two bundles that made no sense in the same fell swoop. So the marketing got better, but the actual contents of the bundles got way worse, because thematically one of them just didn't fit at all, and indeed two of the things that were, the things in those bundles didn't fully fit half the contents of those bundles. So it's been a bit of a ride, and it's been mostly a negative ride. But there's one specific thing that I wanted to focus in on before we basically ditch this subject forever, unless they do something monumentally terrible, of course. If they do something absolutely mad, and I don't know, make them cost more, bring back the order now to avoid missing out marketing fun, for the moment, we'll just call it quits unless something awful happens. But there's something that I wanted to talk about a little bit, because I made a comment in the last video about how they don't offer any discount. There's nothing in there to actually incentivize you to buy these bundles. These bundles are simply done for convenience. Instead of clicking 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, you click once, and that's all they're for. They don't do anything else. The current round of these are pretty just standard. There's nothing to write home about, but they're also actually kind of sensible. It's just 2 different types of knight, the Chaos Knight and 2 War Dogs, and the big knight and 2 Armigers, and that's literally those are the 2 bundles. 1 knight and then 2 baby knights, and that's it. That's the whole thing. In fairness, they haven't messed that up. There's nothing in there that isn't compatible with something else. There's nothing in there that isn't thematic to what they're actually going for. They all kind of make sense in terms of the contents of those, but of course there's still no discount for them. And I mentioned the fact that there was no discount and how daft that was, and one of the comments that I got, admittedly a little bit later on, said, "You know that Games Workshop don't do discounts, so why would you suggest that they should do them for these boxes?" And I wanted to talk about that, because that is something that I actually see quite a lot. We see the comment of, Games Workshop doesn't do discounts, except they do. And they do it really, really regularly, and I feel like that kind of prevailing attitude of, but it's GW, they don't do that sort of thing, probably in some ways hinders how we look at some of the stuff that they do, because that's not an accurate statement, and it hasn't been for a long, long time. Now, if you go to the Games Workshop web store, you can find discounted products in quite a few places. If you're looking at, say, starting Warhammer 40k, and you're going to get one of the starter sets that have both the Necrons and the Space Marines, funnily enough, each one of those boxes that you can get, the Recruit, is it the Recruit, Elite and Command Edition? I forget which way around it is. But those boxes all have discounts. Compared to buying the contents of those boxes separately, you get a really hefty discount. I mean, again, the go-to thing for how Games Workshop's pricing is all over the place and how they've got different ecosystems is the fact that you can get a box of 10 Necron Warriors and a Warden and 5 Assault Intercessors and a Lieutenant for £23 something, and a box of Necron Warriors is £22 something. So clearly, just by that alone, we know Games Workshop does do discounts. Same thing with Combat Patrols and Start Collecting. They are boxes with discounts. You buy those and you will get what's in them at a much reduced rate compared to buying that stuff separately. Then we have all the boxes that do launches of new characters, Shadow Throne being a good example of this, where we've got a new Adeptus Custodes character, and we've got a new Genestealer Cults character. And the contents of Shadow Throne is discounted compared to buying all of that stuff separately. Now, those boxes are an issue in and of themselves that we're going to go into a bit more in a different video, but again, a very good example of Games Workshop offering a discount, and those boxes are pretty frequent. It's not like they're rare, they happen regularly. And same thing with army boxes. Technically, they are discounted because they will cost less than if you buy the stuff separately and then buy the codex, and they've got the data cards and stuff bundled in, so another example of a discount. And finally, we've got the Christmas Battle Forces, where every year they put out big boxes of armies, which come at a discounted rate compared to buying all the stuff separately. So the statement of, Games Workshop doesn't do discounts isn't true. at least in the context of bundling things together. Now, on individual products, no, they don't do discounts. But in the context of bundles, in the context of taking multiple units from the same army, throwing them into a box, they do discounts all the time. But they don't do it for these old foes bundles. And it genuinely confuses me. Well, no, it doesn't confuse me. That's a lie. That's an outright lie. It doesn't confuse me. I know why they don't do discounts on those bundles. It's because they want to charge people full price, and they're still doing the thing of making it look like it's something different when actually it's something exactly the same as what we've already got, which would be to buy the stuff separately. But this, I feel like, is the perfect thing to do discounts on. You want people to start new armies. You want people to actually engage with the thing and get excited about it. You want to live up to that whole building hype thing that Games Workshop does so well. Why not have these bundles be week-long things that do have a discount? All the contents are available separately, and so if you want the stuff that's in that box, then you can get it. It's not that you're missing out on models by not being able to get them that week. But if, say, they decide to do old foes, and they decide to do 2 different armies, that one of which takes your fancy, and there was a discount applicable to it, the same as you would get on a combat patrol or a start collecting, the same as you get from, say, Shadow Throne or one of the 40k starter sets, surely that would just mean that more people would buy it. More people would buy it, more people would be interested in it, it would generate more hype in the idea of the old foes bundles as a whole, it would generate more interest in them because people would, instead of going, oh look, it's one of those things where you don't get anything different and it costs exactly the same, brilliant, instead of getting that reaction, which is what they've got every time so far, admittedly, mostly from me, telling you lot that, and then you lot going, oh my god, this is what the hell is the point of this, but still, this feels like a really good way to just basically jumpstart certain unit sales every single week, because they change every week. They're available for 1 week only. It's Tuesday to Tuesday. Why are they not doing the discount thing on those? I mean, if they want to shift stuff, surely the best way to shift something is to put it in a convenient bundle that also happens to mean that you would effectively be starting an army, and you make it cost less than it would do otherwise. I mean, half these things look like they are just full of units that no one wanted to buy originally anyway. If you're going to try and get people to buy that stuff, at the very least give them some money off. It's not like they're allergic to the idea of discounts. It's not like discounts are something that they just never do, they have no concept of, because they use them all the time. One of the biggest draws for these boxes, one of these biggest draws for combat patrols, for starter sets, for all of this stuff, is the fact that you save a considerable amount compared to buying it, outside of that box. When you look at the contents of Dark Imperium and Indomitus and any of these things, one of the biggest things about them is, oh wow, you actually get this amount of plastic for not quite as much of a whole liver. That's brilliant. And yet these old foes bundles, which you would have thought would be ripe for this, would be perfect for this. A rotating set of bundles that switch out every week, that they would give a discount on every single time. That's something that would actually get the customer base excited for. It would get them interested. It would make them wonder what's going to happen next. It would be a case of actually looking forward to seeing what they announce. Instead of just them showing up on the web store once a week, people clicking it and then going, alright, and then moving on, because that's pretty much all I see people do. Now, of course, they probably are selling okay, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing them. They probably hook a few people, probably fish a few people out of the sea that don't actually know that these aren't anything special or different. But given the way Games Workshop likes to market stuff, given the way they like to do bundles for less to get people excited and hyped about starting new armies, about picking up the latest thing, it just seems weird that they don't do that with these, even though they are absolutely perfect for them. Until they do something interesting with them, there's just no point in talking about them anymore. They've taken off the thing where they talk about how you need to order it now. They've demonstrated that they don't really care all that much in terms of the contents, although, again, this week's are pretty inoffensive. You can't go wrong with a bigger knight and 2 smaller knights. But overall, they're nothing interesting or exciting. There's nothing in there to make you actually want to get them, and that could be easily fixed by them applying the same logic that they do with any other bundle they put together. Why haven't they done it? I don't know. Laziness? Who can tell? It's Games Workshop, and their thinking is labyrinthine and mental. So, best guesses. The question is, I guess, if they did start doing these things at a discount, if it was like a weekly product that showed up and it was different every time, and there was a significant discount each time, would that make you tempted to actually take a look at them? Would that make you think they'd be worth getting? Or would you still just go on the basis of, well, I'm not that interested? I'm going to guess that at least a few people would change their minds about the ideas of these if they offered something as opposed to offering nothing. But hey, that could just be me. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one.